Hey there, good people. It's Patricia here. So glad to have you join me today. I'm doing some conversations about that are related to my hobbies, but they're not always just about the hobbies. There really is a deeper, point. And so today we're going to talk about my plant obsession. I've always loved them. My grandmother was a plant person. I got my green thumb from her, and my family has always said, like, yeah, you're the person who can keep the plants alive because the rest of us really can't do it. And so down through the years, I would have house plants, and then I started planting things outside when we got to be a grown up, and actually when I was still living in an apartment, not just when I was I'll say when I was a grown up and got a house, like that was a whole other thing, right? But then as life would have it, when you get kids, you got to be careful about which plants you have because they're toxic to kids and animals. And then like life just really started getting in. And unfortunately, some of my favorite things to do started going by the wayside because I was focused so much on going really hard on the job and raising the family, and this problem came up. And before I knew it, I had literally lost a part of who I was and am because I wasn't engaging in the things that were just for me, just for fun, that allowed me to be creative, my plants, my reading, my books, my singing. Like there's this whole list of things that just kept dwindling down. And so I'm happy to say, however, that in recent years I have, made the concerted effort to bring all of those things back into my life so that I can, number one, live in a much more regulated space, because the job will take it all out of you. If you let it, it will do it. And also to just remember, like, there are some things you just have to do just for you, not because they're beneficial for the job as well, or that your friend likes it so you want to do it. Like, none of that. It's just because you want to do it. So that's my first little point of making sure that you are doing the things still that matter just for you. Because if you really want to be a great leader, if you really want to be really good at the work you do, then you need to have a life beyond work. So if you don't listen to anything else, I hope you got that part. Now, that said, part of my revival with my plants has been me really digging into um, expanding my houseplant collection pretty rapidly. I think I've gone from like just a handful in the last year to I think I'm up to like 40 or 50 plants now. And a few of them didn't make it along the way. It's okay. And I have a long list. But I also discovered here on YouTube, since I'm spending so much time on YouTube, I discovered this whole other world for so many things, especially other plant people. Oh my gosh, this is a huge problem. And so I'm learning all kinds of other things about plants, about what other people's approaches are, what they're collecting, what they're doing, all of the things. Total fun, totally obsessed. And I have those moments where I just binge. And one of the creators that I love to watch is a gentleman. His channel is I Lift Plants. I think that's correct. I'll put a link to it in the video. Um, and I was like, who is this dude and why? Because he's like Mr. Muscle Man, and he's got this glass of wine in his hand while he's talking about his plant collection, and I was like, are we really with this dude? Yes, we are really with him. So he's a fitness trainer, who discovered a love for plants some years ago as literally a part of therapy for him, for himself. And he's just really dug in. And he's so real. He's up out of Dallas, so he's here in Texas as well. But anyway, he's so real and down to earth. And I've just come to love him. He makes me laugh sometimes with the commentary that he makes. But the other piece that was unexpected was at the end of his videos, most of the time, he gives a little bit of wisdom. He goes ahead and says a little something something, and I'm like, wait, I didn't see that coming. I wasn't expecting that. And so I kind of started, looking forward to it at the end of his videos, and truly being inspired by some of the things that he offers up. So as I continue to watch, so more recently, I was watching one, and the title of it makes some reference that, to perhaps he had lost someone, but he was doing, I think it's one of his old videos. So he's doing a house tour, a tour of his, his plant collection in his apartment. And so during that, I'm like, okay, I thought this was some, dedication one or whatever. But when he gets to the end, he does share. And spoiler alert, because it's the whole point of making this video, is that he shares that he's dedicating, he's bought this plant, it's an orchid, he's dedicating this episode to his therapist, who unfortunately passed away from cancer. And he was very emotional about it, and he worked his way through it, but he was talking about how supportive she was of him in this endeavor, because this was a part of him, addressing some things that he was working, and how she was one of the people who was really rooting him on to share and to do this video channel. And he talked about what she meant to him, and you can totally see it, totally feel it. And he had bought an orchid that had purple flowers for her, because purple is her favorite color, pink and purple. And he had on a pink shirt. So now we knew that, this whole time through the video, this meant something. And I was just like, oh, wow. It was such a powerful, powerful moment there at the end. It's totally worth speeding through and catching it because of this thing. Vulnerability is a powerful, powerful tool. And even when you're not necessarily trying to use it or leverage it as one, it is powerful, and it's very powerful for leaders. And I've talked about this in my previous coffee chats, and I think maybe a video or two here on the Revived channel. But it is such a power move to be able to share who you are, and to do so genuinely and authentically, because you don't ever know who you're going to touch, who you're going to reach, and the impact you're going to have. And sometimes you're not doing it. A lot of times when you're doing it genuinely and all of that, it's not about trying to, you know, uh, generate some sympathy or empathy or whatever. Like, that's not authentic. But when you're sharing from your heart, when you're showing a piece of who you are, and it pitched, that's the whole thing about vulnerability, it puts you at risk a little bit, because I just described, you look at him, you're like, you're not expecting this from this person who, quote, looks this way, and yet here he is. And it's such a powerful thing. And it's something that I've always been an advocate for. And I've learned over the years myself. I've done it a lot more in one to ones and in small group conversations. But over the years, I've learned to express some vulnerability, tell some stories that I might not otherwise share, but I feel like they're going to be impactful to something, to someone, to a situation, and so I share it anyways. And yeah, is it risky? Of course it is. But the impact that you could potentially have on someone's life, on their career, on their growth, exponential, like totally worth it. And so there we are, because this gentleman made this video months ago. I'm watching it now and being impacted. And that's the whole thing. It's like, when you share from your truth, from who you are as a person, it can absolutely have a long lasting impact that you can never see coming. And I know some people are really hesitant about doing this, particularly, in a workspace. Like, oh, I don't need to show all that. But guess what? Especially in today's world where there's so much going on, people are having difficult times, it's just rough out there. Sometimes people need to see a bit of humanity from the person that they view as the leader, that they view as whoever's the person in charge. Because real leaders do what? They have to build trust, and so that people will follow them and to help get them to whatever the goal might be to achieve the thing that needs to be done. And sometimes to build that trust, you have to take a risk and be a little vulnerable. And I'm not saying you jump out there and tell all your business. That's not what this is about at all. But it's about exposing who you are as a human being, just a little tinge, to let people know, oh, wait, they are human. They do have like a real life. They're not this, obnoxious, taskmaster. And I encourage people to think about that, because not just as being the recipient of someone who's showing vulnerability, but as being one to give it in some moment, in some opportunity where it's like you may hesitate, but I'm like, let me go ahead and say this because it could be of value to someone, and you will never know. I know I still get notes today, random notes, random text messages or emails, or like I'm out and about and someone who has listened to something that I shared on my channel or in my old coffee chats, or they heard me speak somewhere and they're like, yeah, I didn't get to come speak to you after that event, but I need for you to know how impactful this story was or what you said was. I had no idea, no clue, but it's totally worth it to know that that impact is being had and that there's change that can come as a result of being willing to be more vulnerable. So I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to think about that today. Like, where can you be a little bit more vulnerable in your everyday life, in your professional life? Maybe sometimes that vulnerability needs to start at home, like with your own self. Like, what do you need to admit to yourself that you can be like, oh my goodness. Sometimes we have to start small. Or maybe there's someone that you've been like, I really want to say this to them and let them know, hey, you're not alone in this. And here's the reason why I know you're not alone in this, because I've been there. Share the story, do the thing, build up to it, do whatever you need to do. But I'm telling you, it will absolutely be worth it, right? It helps you to grow as well, not just the person that you're interacting with or that hears the words or the story or whatever that you share. You're actually helping yourself to experience a moment of growth that will feed you moving forward. So there are so many benefits, and I encourage you to think about it. Have always, as always, engage in some reflection time about it. Think about what it is, why it matters, and where can you level up and be a better leader, a stronger leader by, helping people to trust you just a little bit more, by sharing yourself, by sharing a little taste of who you are beneath the veneer, beneath the facade, so that folks know that you're human too, and that you actually do have feelings, you actually do have things where you can honor who they are and where they are in their current life experiences. So I hope that's been something that can touch someone here. I'd love to hear a little bit more about it. Feel free to reach out in the comments and to let me know your thoughts, your experiences on where it has been for you, uh, either being the recipient of someone who was vulnerable or you sharing with someone in a very vulnerable moment or way. Okay? All right. I'm also going to ask you to remember to please hit the like and the thumbs up button, and to subscribe to this channel as we look to invite more people to celebrate who they are in all the ways, because it does matter as we look to become better leaders, as we look to grow stronger connections and have better relationships, and to grow to be more empowered and support who we are and take better care of ourselves, right? So there we are. I hope that this has been um, helpful to you in some way. Share it with someone who could use a little bit of encouragement. And we will check in with you on the next video. Take care.